Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be looking at my SCX24. Now I haven't had a video out on an SCX24 for a while, but I'm in the process, or I'm on the waiting list. I have a pre-order in, whatever you want to call it, for a TRX 4M, the new 1/18th scale. I've ordered the Bronco. So unfortunately it doesn't look like we're going to get those in the UK until mid-December, which obviously is great for Christmas gifts. But not particularly great for me right now because I want to make a video on it and I'm dying to play with it. But we'll get that when it gets here. In the meantime though, I decided to drag out the old SCX24. Now I did quite a bit of work on this. There's some videos that I'll put up in the top of around the changes that I've made on this, particularly around the steering. But I've also put some metal high clearance links on there. And I also spent quite a bit of time designing a few bits and pieces to try and kind of lower the centre of gravity of this thing a bit. So I got this battery tray, which I found online already actually, but I've put some sliders on there. We've moved all the electronics around, and I've also created these shock towers to give us some more shock options. But you know, it works pretty well. It's quite capable now, but it's not brilliant, and I think it could be better. And I suspect it's probably down to some questionable geometry around the shocks and the links, so I thought it would be good to get some extra options. So with that in mind, I have purchased this. This is a Injora LCG chassis made out of carbon fibre. I think it's 1mm carbon fibre plate. It comes with all the bits that you see here and a few other extra bits and pieces as well around spaces for the shocks at the tops on the shock towers. I'm not sure I've built it 100% correctly because there's absolutely zero instructions in the box or in the packet or online for it. I'm pretty sure it's okay. I may have to move the battery to a different area, but I want to try and do it here because obviously that's going to be pretty close to being over the front wheels, so it's a good spot to have it. Does mean I'm going to have to put the ESC out the back here, I think, somewhere, so we'll see how that goes. And the reason I'm not sure yet is because there's some other bits that I want to put on at the same time. So I need to figure it all out as I go along. Those other bits are a slightly hotter motor. So this is an Injora 050. Came with a pinion, I can't remember which one, but we'll find that and put it somewhere on the screen. So that should give us a little bit more power. I have some overdrive gears for the front. These will give me about 15% overdrive. And I also bought a set of new tyres. So these are slightly bigger tyres than the Patagonias that are on there now. And these are the Injora Crawler Master. And I've seen some good things online about these. The tread looks pretty cool. I don't know how grippy they are yet because I haven't taken them out of the bag. But we'll find out. So let's dive straight in. First job here is going to be strip down, obviously. So we're going to get the body off and then make a start. I will probably time lapse through most of this stuff and just pop back now and again with if I find something particularly useful to note. Probably the first thing to mention is that these chassis rails, these Injora chassis rails, are designed to take the existing bumpers, so I may be able to just reuse that hinge. There we go, so that's the old chassis off. May still be able to use that front bumper and the sort of custom mount that I've got there, so we'll have a see. Also have got to figure out some way of mounting the body pins, but on the Injora chassis there is this panel here. I may just mount some Velcro to the top of that, to be honest, put some under the body and then have the body hinge off on Velcro, so we'll see how it goes. So let's just move the run off to the side, and then we can just have a quick look at the two chassis side by side. As you'd expect, they are pretty similar in terms of some of the dimensions, so they are the same length and width. They're obviously slightly different setup on the geometry, and of course there's lots of different options here for different link mounting points, different shock mounting points, but other than that it's quite similar. So my next job is going to be to swap the motor out, so I want to do that before I put everything back in place. So I've got 2 screws to undo, which should drop out the transmission if I am looking at this correctly. And there's a 3rd screw on top, just a little bit hidden. And there we go, so there's our stock transmission as it stands, and this is our replacement. So as you can see, that's a much bigger motor, so we might have a bit of a challenge fitting that in, but plenty of others have done it, so hopefully it won't be too difficult. So we have four screws to undo, 2 on one side, 2 on the other, and that should crack open our transmission. I was hoping to do this without having to take the drive shafts off, but that doesn't look like it's going to be possible. So certainly on one side at least we're going to have to change them. And just to make life awkward, they're using a different size screw in there. Hopefully it's a 1.5. Yes it is. You've got to be careful not to lose any of the hardware here, because you are going to have to reuse the original hardware. That's just a good side-by-side comparison. As you can see, they're pretty much the same size, but obviously one of them's considerably longer than the other, and that's where the difference is coming in. So obviously need to make sure we get things the right way round, and the reason it comes with a new motor plate, as you'll see, is that the stock motor plate only has 2 holes in, and the new one has 4, and that's because the motors mount on the opposite side. So initially I thought the 2 plastic washers that came with the motor mount kit were just that, plastic washers, but actually, having already tried that, they kind of, I think they might be more like spacers to go on the opposite side. So let's give that a try. Yes, I think that's the case. pretty sure before they were fouling onto the spur gear, or the ring gear, sorry, pinion, whatever it is. There we go. And that mesh feels nice. It's got a little bit of play in it, but not a lot. I think the motor is mounted up as high as it will go. Yeah, that's better. So there's a tiny little bit of play in that pinion, and that should be good to go. So there we go, got a nicely reassembled gearbox, transmission, and we are ready to go. So we'll pop the drive shaft back on. There we go. If you are going to be doing work on these little SCX24s, I definitely recommend getting one of these little Weira 1.3mm hex adapters, hex drivers, and also a 4mm socket wrench. Really good. Not wildly expensive, but really good quality. So we can now hopefully drop the chassis over the top, mount it all up, and we're good to go. So we have a few problems. Now, that's probably not to be not an unexpected thing, really. So the first problem is the ESC. It's pretty bulky. My original plan was to sort of mount it up here, but if I do that, I'm pretty sure the body's not going to close properly. So I may need to do something that kind of brings it forward a little bit, and then the body should close over it because it's then effectively in the cab. Alternatively, I could put it back on the slider where it was before, and that kind of worked okay, so you know that might be the answer for now. It's just to put that on there, probably on this side actually, probably do it that way around. Don't know. A couple of options there, so we can probably like mount that on the slider for now, and that should be okay. Final problem is a bit more fundamental. So the motor that I've bought and the links that I have are not getting on with each other particularly well. So on this side, the upper link is, although it's in its lower position on the chassis, it is fouling on the motor as that flexes. So that's a bit of a problem. So I've got a definite issue that I need to resolve there, or we may need to just put the old motor back in for now, which would be a shame. Really was looking forward to giving it a try with a motor with a bit more oomph. I'm going to do a bit of research, see if I can find a way to sort that out, because I can't be the only person that's tried this motor, and we'll go from there. Maybe I'll get in touch with Injora, see if they recommend or suggest anything in particular. But other than that, it was not too bad. It was a little bit fiddly, as these things always are, but the chassis went together really well. Everything fits really nicely. I did have to just sort of widen a couple of the holes where the plastic locator lugs go in, just to make sure that they go in smoothly, but nothing major. Yeah, so not bad so far, but not 100% successful. Stay tuned for the next installment, and we will figure out how to get the motor and the links working together, and hopefully by then we'll have a new body shell to put on, I've ordered a Proline cliffhanger, made the decision overnight, ordered it overnight, so that'll be coming soon, and we'll put that into a new video as well. We'll get that painted up, make it look pretty cool. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you found the video useful. Please don't forget to do the usual thing, like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.